Chosen one. From now on, it is God duty. Richness forever. The turning point. In the crowded, dust-filled streets of a small coastal town lived a man named Elias. At 34, he was what most people called hard-working but unlucky. He rose before dawn every day to drive a battered delivery truck across the city, hauling crates of fruit and vegetables to markets that paid him just enough to cover rent, electricity, and his mother's medicine. His hands were calloused, his back ached constantly, and his dreams had long ago shrunk to fit inside the tiny apartment he shared with his aging mother. Elias had once believed in something bigger. As a boy, he would sit under the old neem tree behind their house and whisper prayers into the wind, asking for a life where worry didn't wake him up at night. But year after year, the answers seemed silent. Bills piled up, his mother's health faded, the truck broke down twice in 1 month, eating his savings. Eventually, he stopped praying aloud. He simply worked harder, as if sheer exhaustion could force the universe to notice him. One rainy Tuesday evening, everything changed. Elias had just finished his last delivery. The sky was the color of bruised metal, and water rushed through the gutters like angry rivers. He pulled the truck into the alley behind the warehouse, turned off the engine, and sat there in the dark cab, listening to the rain hammer the roof. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to feel the full weight of his fatigue, not just physical, but the deeper kind that settles in the soul. "Why me?" he whispered, not angrily, just tired. "Why does it never get easier?" In that exact moment, the radio, which had been silent for weeks because the antenna was broken, crackled to life. No one had touched it, no station had been tuned in, yet a calm, resonant voice filled the cab. "Chosen one, you have carried the burden long enough. From now on, it is no longer your duty to chase provision, it is God's duty. Richness forever begins the moment you release the struggle." Elias froze. The voice wasn't coming from the speakers in the usual way. It felt like it was inside his chest, warm and certain, like sunlight breaking through clouds. The message repeated twice more, each word landing like a stone dropped into still water, sending ripples through his mind. Then the radio went dead again. He sat there for a long time, rain drumming, heart pounding. Was it real? A hallucination from exhaustion? Or something else? That night he didn't sleep. Instead, he sat at the small kitchen table with a cup of cold tea and opened the old family Bible his mother kept on the shelf. He hadn't touched it in years. The pages fell open to a passage he vaguely remembered. "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you." The words felt different this time, not like advice, like a contract, a divine promise shifting responsibility. The next morning, Elias did something he had never done before. Instead of rushing to the depot for the early load, he stayed home. He sat quietly in the living room, closed his eyes, and spoke aloud for the first time in forever. "If I truly am chosen, if this is real, then I release it. The worry, the chasing, the fear of tomorrow. From now on, it is your duty, God, not mine." Nothing dramatic happened immediately. No lightning, no sudden check in the mail, but something inside him shifted, like a heavy chain snapping. Over the following weeks, small miracles began to unfold in ways he could never have planned. First, the warehouse owner, a gruff man who rarely spoke to drivers, called Elias personally. "I don't know why, but I feel I should give you a different route, better pay, fewer hours, new truck. Start Monday." Elias accepted, stunned. Then his mother's doctor phoned with news. A new treatment program had opened, fully funded by an anonymous donor foundation no one had applied to. The timing was impossible. The paperwork had somehow appeared on the doctor's desk overnight. A month later, Elias received an unexpected inheritance from an uncle he barely remembered meeting as a child, a modest piece of land on the edge of town that sat unused for decades. When surveyors came, they discovered it sat on a newly valuable aquifer. Developers offered a sum that made Elias's knees weak. But the real change wasn't the money, it was the peace. Elias no longer woke up calculating how many extra deliveries he needed to make. He no longer felt the knot in his stomach when bills arrived. He began to feel carried, as though an invisible hand had taken the wheel he had gripped so tightly for so long. He started giving, quietly at first, paying for a neighbor's child's school fees, buying groceries for the widow down the street, helping repair the church roof that leaked for years. Each act felt like planting seeds in soil that was finally ready to receive them. One evening, as the sun set over the sea, Elias walked along the beach alone. The waves rolled in, steady and endless. He smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. He whispered to the wind, "Thank you. I understand now. It was never about me forcing richness to come. It was about me stepping aside so richness could flow through me." From that day forward, Elias lived differently. Not as a man who had finally made it, but as a man who had finally let go. Opportunities continued to appear. Partnerships, investments, ideas that turned into businesses almost effortlessly. Wealth grew, yes, but more than that, joy grew, purpose grew, love grew. And in quiet moments, when people asked him how his life had changed so dramatically, in a narrow gully of Lyari, Karachi, where the smell of frying pakoras mixed with diesel fumes and sea salt, lived Elias Masih. 34 years old, 5'8", perpetually sunburnt forearms from years of gripping a steering wheel. His 2000s vintage Suzuki pickup, once white, now mostly gray rust and patched blue tarpaulin, was known to every fruit mandi from Sadar to the new Sabzi mandi. People called him Elias Bhai Truckwala. He called himself nothing at all. Every morning at 3:45 a.m., the azan from Masjid-e-Quba still echoing, he would kiss his mother Ami's forehead while she slept on the charpai in the single-room portion they rented for 18,000 rupees a month. Then he slipped out, started the truck with the familiar cough and sputter prayer, and began another 16-hour day. Load mangoes in summer, kino in winter, onions when the prices crashed and middlemen grew fat while drivers grew thin. Back home by 10 p.m. if lucky, midnight if the traffic on Moripur Road decided otherwise. Ami's heart medicine cost 4,200 rupees every 30 days. Rent due on the 5th, electricity bill always surprise attack high because the old meter ran fast. Elias had stopped counting how many times he had borrowed 10,000 from his cousin Javed, only to repay 13,000 3 months later. Dreams? He used to have them. A small shop of his own, a proper house with 2 rooms, a wife who wouldn't have to worry whether there would be dal for dinner. But hope, like the truck's brakes, had worn thin long ago. One monsoon Tuesday in July, the sky split open. Rain came in solid sheets, not drops. The windshield wipers could barely keep up. The road from Kimari to the wholesale market had become a river of brown water and floating polythene bags. Elias delivered the last crates of bananas at 8:40 p.m., got soaked unloading because the tarp had torn again, collected his payment, short by 1,200 rupees as usual, market Kharab hai bhai, and drove back toward home. He pulled into the dark alley behind the go-down to park for the night. No point risking theft by taking the truck home. Engine off. Silence except for rain drumming metal like impatient fingers. He leaned his forehead on the steering wheel and for the first time in maybe 7 years spoke aloud without anger, only bone-deep weariness. Ya Allah, Baskardo. I'm not asking for luxury, just let me breathe one day without calculating every rupee. Why does it never get lighter? The old cassette player, broken for 2 years, suddenly hissed. Then, impossibly, a voice, deep, calm, warm, like someone speaking from inside his own ribcage. Chosen one, you have carried what was never yours to carry alone. From this moment, the duty of provision is no longer yours, it is mine. Richness, not only of money, but of peace, of days without fear, begins now, forever. The voice repeated the sentence twice, slower each time, as though making sure every word soaked in. Then, silence, only rain. Elias sat frozen, heart hammering so hard he could feel it in his teeth. He tried the radio knob, nothing, battery dead anyway. Hallucination? Heat stroke? Jinn? He didn't know, but something had shifted inside his chest, like an old rusted lock finally turning. That night he didn't sleep. At 2 a.m. he pulled Army's old Bible from under her steel trunk. She kept both Quran and Bible because Allah likes when his children talk to him in every language they know. The book fell open, almost too perfectly, to Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. He read it again and again. Then he whispered, half afraid, half defiant, "All right, if I am chosen, if this is real, then I'm done chasing, done begging from middlemen, done lying awake counting deaths. From tomorrow, it's your duty, not mine." Next morning, he did the unthinkable. He didn't go to the Mandi. He made chai for Ami, sat with her, told her stories from his childhood she hadn't heard in years. At 9 a.m. his phone rang. It was Chacha Rafiq, the go-down owner, a man who never called drivers, only shouted at them. "Elias, listen, I don't know why I'm doing this. Last night I couldn't sleep. Felt like someone was standing at the foot of my bed saying your name. I want you to take the new route, Defense, Clifton, hotels, double commission, new truck, company fuel. Start Monday. Don't ask questions, just say yes." Elias could only manage, "Gee, Chacha." 3 days later, Ami's cardiologist called. A new international cardiac program just landed in Karachi, fully sponsored, zero cost. Your mother's name appeared on the list this morning. We don't know how, but she's scheduled for next week. Elias stared at the phone like it might bite him. Then came a letter from a lawyer in Hyderabad, an uncle whom Elias remembered only as the quiet man who gave him a 100 rupee note at Eid